UK for any reason related to work, including periods of paid annual leave from the UK. So even if you are on paid annual leaves, the employer has to confirm all the periods where you have not worked as well. Anytime you are on leave, work-related absences, anything like that. And also stating your period of unpaid leaves. So if you've taken any unpaid leaves for any reasons, they should mention those as well. So items 7 and 8, so these two can be either separate letters or the details can be confirmed in the same letter. This is quite important because the way the absences are tracked is this is more from the employer's compliance perspective also. Every time, let's say you take an unpaid leave of 4 weeks, the employer is supposed to report through the SMS, sponsor management system. The employer has a sponsor license through which they have sponsored you for the Tier 2 general visa. They are required to report that you were absent from work and due to unpaid leaves during this period. So, and that is done within 10 days from the event. So if it was happened 1 year ago when you took the leaves, at the time the employer should have reported to Home Office. So in this way, they also cross-check the employer's employer's compliances, that the employer has followed all their compliances, that they've reported you on time, and that's how they will match up all the numbers. So this is also if you change jobs, be mindful of this. Uh, you should always, whenever you change jobs, take letters from your current employers or emails or some kind of system printout if you have an HR system which confirms your absences, at least something to prove your absences from that employer, because once you moved employers and you may get it with your current employer, but from your past employers it may be very difficult to get. If you don't have the records of absences or the employer is unwilling or you are unable to get it, you should definitely make all your attempts, put the evidence of all your attempts. So that is where the discretion comes into play. So be mindful of this. If you don't have letter of confirmation or any type of any form of confirmation for your previous employment absences from the UK, work related, paid annual leave, anything like that, uh, usually you should take immigration advice. You can speak to us also. We also provide advice. You will have the consultation link over here or any qualified immigration advisor, and make sure that this is addressed properly with whatever evidence you have, or if you have no evidence at all. So just make sure you address that aspect. Any P60s and P45s for last 5 years. This is not a required document per se. You won't see it in the guidance or even on your checklist, but it is good practice to prove that, so that you are upfront giving evidence to Home Office that for the last 5 years I have been working with all the right sponsors that I had the visas for. Unless you don't have it, that's the only case. If you don't have it, then don't submit it. The other option is if you don't have P60s, P45s, you may contact HMRC. You can click on this link and get proof for employment history. You can apply for it. This page will tell you all the information how to do it, and they will either usually send you by email or post it to your home address. Usually, HMRC will do that. And going back to the list, so it is good practice either to give the P60s, P45s covering your Tier 2 general visa or getting an employment history, so that Home Office doesn't go and try to investigate you or try to find out things rather than they doing the investigation. It's always better to front load all the information as much as possible. It's just good practice. List of absences in the following format. This you'll have to fill up on the application form, ILR application, date left the UK, date returned to the UK, reason for absence. Uh, so reason for absence can be, they don't need much details. It can be personal, visiting family, tourism, anything, business related absence, anything like that. English language evidence. So either you can meet it by different ways. If that applies to you, click here. This will tell you the English language requirement, who is required to meet it, who is exempt. For ILR, you would need at least a B1 level. So, so following nationalities are exempt. So this is the list of nationalities who don't need to prove English language test. You can also prove the English language requirement by showing a UK bachelor's degree or higher, anything bachelor's or higher that you obtained from a UK educational institution. or if you obtained your degree from outside the UK, then you would need to apply to UK NARIC, UK NARIC, to get the equivalency letter confirming that the education has been delivered in English and that the degree is at least equal to a UK's bachelor's or higher. So those are different ways for English language requirement. Also, one important thing, we've observed that there is a minimum salary required. It would be 35,600. So to the best of the top of my head, I remember. So in order to qualify for ILR on Tier 2 General, unless you fall into any of the exemptions like a shortage occupation, then you would need a minimum salary of 35,600 annually to be earning at the point of this application. One of the concerns that we have seen is employers trying to raise the salaries to this level at the last moment just before the application, maybe 3 months, 6 months before the application. For such applications, sometimes the usually most of the times if they see an immediate rise, that's the reason we try to give last 3 months pay slips to show that it's not a recent rise. Even the P60s and P45s, if your rise is not very recent, then better to front load all these documents to show the numbers, the salaries paid to you throughout the period. And that's what shows them that it's not a sudden hike uh, to just to allow the migrant to obtain ILR. The employers sometimes may hike the salary just for the purpose of the ILR application. So that is what they don't want, and the immigration rules does not allow that. If they see any sudden hike, it may be in last 3 months, 6 months, within last 12 months, usually anything can be queried. That's what is usual. They will write back to the employer asking them to confirm that they are paying them this salary. And if they see that it is a difference, a sudden rise or a considerable rate, let's say the employee is earning 30,000 and suddenly it becomes 35,600. So that's a considerable percentage of increase. Uh, they would ask for documentation and evidence from the employer to prove as to why there is a reason just suddenly close to the ILR application that the salaries have been increased. And they also keep a tab on the employers as to if they decrease the salary immediately after the ILR application or in recent months after the ILR applications. So be mindful of this. Salary increases. This is a common problem where employers tend to increase at the last moment, and that seems to be a problem. Every time there is uh, the increase is very close to the application within 3 months, 6 months, or a year's time, then it is something that is queried back, and they take a view quite in a very negative way. That's what we have seen from past experience. So if you have any such situations, take advice of immigration advisors, immigration lawyers. We are qualified to give advice. You can also, on any other matters, also you can contact us to book the consultation. You can click on the link. It will give you all the information as to what is covered in the consultation, etc. All if you go back and read more, yeah. So here it is the information you have. I'll put a link to this list of documents. You can download it, and this will give you all the information. And thank you very much.